Well, hello, this is Doug Anthony. I bring you greetings from myself and my wife, Mary Lou. We know many of you from the times we've worked together in whatever part of the world you are from. And it's a joy to come before you this morning. And I want to challenge you. I want to challenge us to have a conversation. And this will be a continuing conversation. So this is one installment. And we began it here a month ago or so. And the title of this one is The Glory of a Bird. You see, the glory of a bird is in its uniqueness, not in its sameness. Most birds have two wings and two legs and beak and feathers. Most walk, and with some exceptions, fly. But some birds float, some even dive underwater. Some are brilliant colors, and while others are masterfully camouflaged. Legs, necks, and beaks are a wide variety of shapes. Some hunt and eat live flesh. Some hunt and dive for live fish. Others eat bugs or feast on dead carcasses. On our first journey into South Luangwa National Park in Zambia, I was expecting to be overwhelmed by elephants and hippos and lions and hyenas and antelope, and they were impressive, no doubt. But what I was unprepared for was a fantastic variety of bird life in the park. The birds were amazing in their beauty and truly stunning in their difference. And for whose pleasure were they created? For God's and for ours. It's the same with culture. The glory of a culture is not in its sameness, but in its difference. We see in Revelation 7:9 that it's God's design and intention that every culture be represented around his throne in heaven. Hear the words. After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every tribe, nation, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands, and they cried in a loud voice, "Salvation belongs to our God, who sits on the throne, and unto the Lamb." You see, God intends for your culture, your tribe, and your language to be present around his throne. So don't be deceived by this idea that you should be subsumed under a more dominant culture, that the unique practices of your marginalized people group don't matter. So maybe the gospel of Jesus Christ came from the larger people group, and they had all these worship songs, and you just imported them all. But it's not the heart language of your people. Now, that doesn't mean you should reject them. I mean, we should thank people. They brought the gospel to us. We should partner with them to take the gospel to others, right? We need to have hearts of gratitude in all of this. But when it comes to communing the heart of the gospel to your cultural group, to the people who've yet to hear, your own cultural practices matter. So what I'm challenging you to do today is to reclaim these cultural practices for the kingdom of God. Don't surrender your local cultural identity. So if you don't have worship songs using your own language and your own instruments, your own song forms, poetic forms, you are the artists. You are the ones that God has gifted to communicate in these mediums. You can create these songs. You can create new art. You can create things that communicate Christian faith in ways that resonate deeply in your cultural setting. But you must be wise in the choices that you make, because you know every cultural practice has all of these layers of meaning that have settled over time, sedimentary layers, we call them, that have built up over years, even generations. And some of these meanings are very general, and some of these meanings are very specific. And you know that it could be very problematic for some genres for you to put Christian messaging to that, because the meaning that's attached to the song form, the tune, the genre would overpower any words you attach. And you're thinking of examples right now, I'm sure. Okay, but there are many forms within your culture that are more neutral, right? So things that are about this is how we teach a husband and wife to live together in harmony, and how we expect them to live within the community. We sing these songs at weddings often. This is how we expect children to obey their parents. This is how we expect people in the community to work, right? This is how we live together as a culture. There are lots of teaching songs here. And there are songs, there might be about hunting. You might have lots of specific songs that also could very easily be used for a Christian message, right? It can resonate deeply. That's the whole thing, that the message you're attaching to this form must resonate deeply. People feel like, oh yeah, that's very appropriate, because that's very much in line with what we think of when we hear this tune or songs like this. Or if you're another kind of artist, you say, whenever we see this genre, this is what we expect from that. And so it resonates with that, but it's a Christian message that we're adding to it. And the point I wish to make is that the uniqueness of your local culture is its glory, right? And it matters for ministry and mission. So just as you wouldn't want all the birds in your region to suddenly become alike, all right, and they have no difference from one another, so God doesn't wish the cultures in your region to suddenly become alike. And you shouldn't wish them that way either. So take joy in your own culture. Remember that God values your culture, and he's looking forward to that day when every people and tribe and language and nation is represented around his throne. And I'm looking forward to that day too. Thank you. And I'd love to hear your comments.